All right, today I was sitting there at my desk listening to a podcast from the Epic Economist, and the video you guys are watching today is taking the transcript from that podcast and putting it into Chat GPT. But while I was sitting there listening to it, I could just tell that Gen Z knew that his goose was cooked. This economy for people who don't have strong skills is going to be one that is not going to take any prisoners. I feel bad for the 20,000 people that just graduated from ASU who are going to go out and look for jobs with no job experience, liberal arts degrees, and no chance at making it. And I mean, zero chance. I've had four Gen Zers working for me, and all of them have had no chance at making a life for themselves. No car, no relationship, no house. And when you stop and take that into consideration, that I've spent my whole life working in technology and I have to do some pretty interesting things. And I don't use the word interesting lightly. I mean, for instance, today I got a call about not just a keyboard and mouse that weren't working for a regular person, but when the head of HR calls you, you should recognize the names of the people that are in the top group of your corporation. So I got this call and it's like, hey, how soon can you get this to the person? And I thought to myself, it's, Thursday afternoon. It's almost 4 o'clock. And you think to yourself, this is just a regular person, probably just a low level, close to minimum wage person. And then you hear the name of who they're talking to, and you're like, oh my God, you just want to reach through the phone and just smack them on the side of the head and say, hey, that person is very, very important. And they're not just very, very important, but they're handling very, very important things like staff retention and the other way. So I got off the phone with him. And about 5 minutes later, she calls me up and she's like, "Hey, Millennial Steam, how's it going?" 'Cause she's always very curious as to what I'm doing because I've told her about how strange my job is. I'm doing one thing 1 minute and then a completely different thing the next minute. But I never have an ordinary day. Like this morning, I was talking to the president of the office building where I work, and he's like, "Millennial Steam, you seem stressed out. Come with me. Come to my office. We're gonna go have some drinks in my office right now." So we walk over to the break room. He reaches into the refrigerator. He touches all of the sodas that we have in there, and he's like, "Damn it, Millennial Steam, they're all warm. Let's go get some ice." So we walk to the other side of the office building to get some ice, and Lord and behold, his ice machine is still broken. And I'm like, come on, let's go over here. There's this other department over here that their ice machine always works. So while we're shooting the talking about work, and he's like, man, Millennium Steam, I wish I had some deep insider news about what's going on at Evil Corp, but I just don't. And the next thing he said to me was hilarious because you're talking about the president, right? You're talking about a guy whose sole responsibility is to make certain that that place runs. And he says to me, "Millennial Steam, if they're going to fire me, I want them to fire me right now." And this is like, he's like, "I'm not scared. Fire me." And I was just like, I didn't know what to say. Like, and the weird part is that when I was talking to HR today, I mentioned they know who the president of my building is, right? She's like, "Oh my God, that guy is so nice. It's such a good person to deal with." And I was just like, "I know." I was just chit chatting with him this morning. Anyhow, I digress. I wanted to talk about being a technologist in a world in which technology is merging more technology and human resources and being able to have all the soft skills you need in order to deal with people on a very personal level are all merging together, which is pushing out a lot of the technologists that don't have any people skills. And when I think of people who don't have people skills, I think of Gen Z and all the other people that I work around that are within my same group is they don't have relationships with other people. They don't call other people on the weekends and chit chat for a couple of hours. I do. I have several people I call on the weekends that I've never met in real life, but I would consider to be my virtual work friends. But anyhow, let's get back to this video. So this video is about something completely different. But in a sense, it's just one of my regular videos. In fact, this morning when I was driving to work, I was asking Chat GPT, it's like, what keeps... I've made almost 700 videos at this point, and Chat GPT's written every script that I've made for the channel since I got demonetized in August. And so Chat GPT knows me better than I know myself. And she said the honesty in the videos is what keeps certain people coming back to this channel because remember, names and places have been changed, but Evil Corp stays the same no matter where you go in the world. Evil Corp's there to use the Soul Suck 3000 to make certain that they get every drop of you every single day. In fact, one of my coworkers today was talking to me about how bad things were. And he's like, at the end of the day, these people don't care if we starve. They absolutely don't care if what they're paying us doesn't pay our bills. And he was very adamant about it. And you're talking about a guy in his mid 50s, he's lived more in 1 year probably than I have lived in my whole life. He's been in and out of jail. He's been in fights in bars. He's been married multiple times. You're talking about a character, a guy I keep asking to make his own podcast, but he tells me he's scared that someone might recognize his voice. And it's like, who cares? It's just life. You're out here as a podcaster talking, making money. It's a second job. Anyhow, let's get into our introductory monologue before I run out of time. I used to think that going to Disney World was just expensive. Now I realize it's a financial trap. A Florida dad spent $1,400 for 1 day with his family at the happiest place on earth. And that's not even including the mental breakdown afterwards when he checked his bank account. Prices are skyrocketing everywhere. But our paychecks, they're stuck in 2012. This isn't just about a theme park. It's about how working people are being priced out of basic joy, one overpriced churro at a time. Really, ChatGPT? Churro? This is something I was talking to Gen Z about this morning. Like, he's getting paid right now what I was getting paid in 2006 when I started working for Allied Waste. That's how much he's getting paid. And I'm like, you're getting paid right now what I made 20 years ago at a help desk. And I'm like, has anyone noticed that prices have gone up? I mean, the idea of a regular person going on vacation or having a second home or being able to do anything besides go home and get into the fetal position in the middle of your living room while you drink a beer, I mean, that's life at this point. It's not going to get any better. There's not going to be annual raises. There's not going to be merit raises. There's not only going to be a transition from you as a regular worker into something cheaper. And I've been saying this for years. Evil Corp wants to get rid of your benefits. They want to make certain that you're living on the street and that you have no chance because there aren't salaried positions for people like me and people like you. We're not going to wake up one day and we're going to be making a 6-figure salary job where we only have to work 40 hours or less. That's just not going to happen. We're all going into the pine box, beaten, covered in bruises, and mentally destroyed. That's what Evil Corp is. It's not about giving you friendly recipes every Wednesday and watching more cat videos. It's about taking everything from you. Like literally, just everything. Leaving no joy whatsoever in your life. I mean, I got a text message the other day from someone who said, it's like, I haven't seen you in 6 months and we haven't talked since December. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Monday through Friday, I have to work. Weekends I have to work, and I'm broke. So, what do you want me to say? The simple joy of meeting other people or having even basic relationships isn't there for the pro. It's gone. It's gone forever. Just like a pension or the idea that you'll retire within a reasonable frame. Do you think I have a single penny in retirement? I have no savings, no retirement. I live paycheck to paycheck. And if I wasn't doing YouTube, I would run out of money every third week of every month because when I lost my channel in August, before I got remonetized, I was broke. I had nothing in that last week. I was having to pawn my electronics August, September, and I think I started making again money. It took me about 3 months. Even though I got remonetized about 3 weeks after I restarted the channel because so many of you came back from that found out that I got demonetized from bigger YouTube channels. Like I had two to 3,000 people come back to the channel as soon as they found me through the larger channels. But during that time frame, that third week was really, really hard on me. Like it was bad. But I mean, what can you do? Again, we can't just lay down in the fetal position and give up. I mean, there are times that I want to do that at work where I just want to climb under my desk and pass out, like like my first senior manager did when I wasn't there one day. He just got drunk in the office and then passed out under his desk. But that's a story for a different day. All right, let's get into talking point number one before I run out of time. What used to be a once in a lifetime affordable family memory, like a day at Disney World, is now a luxury item. When a single day of fun costs more than a utility bill or car payment, it's a sign that joy is becoming unaffordable. This isn't just about Disney. It's about how fun, rest, and even basic happiness are now priced for the elite. Now, let's take a dark turn here. For years, we all know that Disney isn't paying their workers. Jack, you know what? Their workers have to live in their cars because the area around Disneyland, at least Disneyland, Florida, is so expensive that workers have to sleep in their cars. And I remember watching one story about a guy who got evicted while working for Disney. And once you have an eviction on your on your rental record, no one is going to rent to you. So some of these employees had to move into motel rooms. And if you think that renting from, a hellhole rundown apartment is hard now, imagine not even being able to get into a place like this, where the only place that you can afford is living in a Motel 6 while you're working full time. That's what the world has come down to. It doesn't matter how many minimum wage jobs you have in this world. You need to have 2 to 3 jobs right now just to live here in society's rear end where I live, where I can afford to live. And it's terrible. I mean, I live so close to my neighbor that at night I can hear her fart. I can hear her cough. And this morning I heard her devil's lettuce fall out of her hand and hit the wall next to my ear and roll onto the floor. That's how tightly packed we are and where I can afford to live. And honestly, I can't afford to live here because if it were what my monthly salary should be, because I'm a huge advocate of just having a simple formula for what people need to live. Your rent should be 20% of your monthly income. That would make my monthly income $8,000 a month. Evil Corp's not about that kind of life. Evil Corp is thinking more like you can live off $2,000 a month, which is still 300 less than the average one-bedroom apartment in Arizona. So you do the math. They're squeezing working class people into oblivion in real time. And guess what Evil Corp thinks? You're bad with money. I've heard it my whole life. Talking point number two. When politicians and CEOs talk about absorbing tariffs. They don't mean themselves. They mean you, proletariat. Tariffs raise the price of components from all over the world, and all that cost trickles down into the final price of nearly everything, from electronics to groceries to theme park tickets. Companies protect their profits. You lose buying power. Remember what I say about trickle down economics, right? It's warm, it's salty, and it's yellow. And every time you flick your tongue up there to get a little bit more of that trickle down economics, you taste the salt, and I even get a little hint of asparagus every single time. That's what rich people think of poor people. We're not human like them. We don't need anything. If anything, I even heard this in my comments yesterday night. I deleted the comment. It's like, millennials team, all you need to do is shut up and work harder. And I'm like, really? Did I spend my whole life working to live here, to own nothing, to be angry all of the time? I mean, I go to bed angry every night. I wake up angry. I'm angry nonstop. It's my only response, my only coping mechanism so I don't go insane. It's just being angry at the world because I have to work so hard to have so little. I mean, the last time that I can remember not having to worry about money, I was 16 years old and I was living at home. That was the last time I didn't have to think about money. The last time I could actually go out and do something on the weekend and not feel guilty about wasting time when I could have been working. That's how long it's been. That means my entire adult life I've spent it being miserable, minimum wage, and I would say mentally unfit to be outside. If I were a psychologist and I met me, I would lock me up in a heartbeat. You're not fit to be out there. And unfortunately, I actually heard this a couple of times today, is that our financial problems cannot how do I put this? We can't overcome our financial problems that bleed into our normal mental problems. Because while I was doing my psych degree, there was one case study that really stood out to me, and it was about a farmer who had a couple of bad harvests. I think it was a pecan farm, if I remember correctly. And the fact is that because he lost everything, he started becoming introverted. His family left him. The farm was foreclosed on, and he just went mentally insane and homeless because he just couldn't deal with the reality of becoming a homeless person. And no one wanted to be around him anymore because he had gone insane. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people is that your financial problems start turning you, you're not human anymore because your financial problems follow you into your dreams. If you can't escape, if you can't cope, and you're dealing with the reality of how much you need more money in your dreams. I mean, I was actually asking ChatGPT about this yesterday because I was having all of those nightmares all night yesterday night. And it was talking about how nightmares aren't supposed to be common in adults. Nightmares are supposed to be for children. But I find myself waking up at night, often at night, wondering why I can't stop thinking about needing to find other ways of making money. And I came to the conclusion that these statistics that were being shown on mental health have to be as rigged as the unemployment rate is in this country. Because there's no way that you sleep okay at night when 70 to 80% of Americans right now are living paycheck to paycheck. It's not normal. It's not normal not to be able to relax or have a panic attack every time you have to go to the grocery store. Talking point number 3. Shrinkflation, price hikes, gas spikes, junk fees, smaller portions, extra charges. It's all happening at once. Families don't realize how deep the damage is until their bank account hits zero faster than ever. We're being trained to accept less, expect less, and smile while it happens. But the truth is, survival shouldn't cost this much. And what's really funny is this morning I went over to eat at a taco place near my job. I think it's called Monster Taco. And I know I've mentioned this girl before. I think I mentioned her in my last video because I saw her on Monday or Tuesday. And I walked in, and she's the owner, right? And she's just sitting there, just looking cute. And I walk in and I say to her, it's like, you're one of my favorite things to look at in this world. And she blushed really big and red. And I asked her what she was planning on doing for the holiday weekend. And she looks at me like, Millennials team, I work in a restaurant. There are no holidays here. The only day that she closes the restaurant is Christmas. Every other day of the year, she has to open a restaurant. And I mean, being the owner and having a chef, she has two employees, herself and her chef. And I'm sure that she can make anything on the menu because she's been in the restaurant business since she was yee high. In fact, I was asking her about why she's always happy. And she's like, I've been a waitress my whole life. It just comes naturally to me to smile when customers walk in. Anyhow, getting into our closing monologue here, we're not just losing money, we're losing access to the little things that made life feel full. A vacation, a family day, a moment of peace, those are getting taxed, marked up, and sold back to us as luxury prices, at luxury prices. And while CEOs and politicians argue about who should eat the tariffs, it's the rest of us swallowing the cost. Meal after meal, bill after bill. So next time someone tells you the economy is strong, ask them how many average families still afford a damn ticket to Disneyland. Ooh, ChatGPT. I didn't see that coming. ChatGPT's never cursed once in a single video that I've made. And I've made thousands of videos. It's getting a spicy meatball. ChatGPT might have a spicy rear end right now. Must have been the hot sauce. Anyhow, that's going to be the video. You guys are going to see this sometime next week. I'm trying to get 10 videos up so that I can have a little bit more of a relaxing weekends, but this weekend's a 3-day weekend and it looks like I'm going to be working all 3 days, so no weekend for me. And it's not surprising. People like me don't get time off. We get time to work other jobs.